What's going on? You guys can barely see me. It's snowing outside. If it wasn't snowing outside, you wouldn't be able to see me at all, because a white blanket on the ground helps reflect the light enough, the street light's enough to see me. Snow in my hair. But I kind of wanted to make this video because, so something I observed from raising children, right? So, I have a daughter, 2 stepdaughters. And just observing them, watching them grow, and all this other shit, right? I observed that human beings have an issue, right? And the issue that human beings have is we want to fit in. We want people to like us. We tend to conform to the other people around us. And we tend to give up too easily. 4 things that the human race does that fucks us up. And it's been fucking us up since we were young. Just observing the children and how they play with each other and whatever, so 2 kids were doing something, I don't know, I think they were just folding blankets or something, and then the youngest one couldn't fold the blanket, and it's not that she couldn't, it's that because she was younger, it was a little harder because her arms didn't reach as far, but she immediately said, I can't do it, dropped the blanket and was like, I can't do it, and then started kind of whining about it and whatever, and it was just an observation. I was trying to explain to her, like, you can't say I can't. That word is what fucks us up as a human species. It's the word I can't. It's your thoughts. Your belief that you can't made it so you can't, so you gave up. The only reason you can't is because you gave up. So I just kept telling her to keep trying. And she eventually got it. But it's just a prime example that most of us don't have that person in their ear telling them, keep going, don't give up. All that other shit. So you have to become that for yourself. As a child, my stepdaughter had me to sit there and be like, don't say I can't, keep trying. Most of us don't have anybody. And you're not really supposed to as you get older. Maybe you missed this advice, right? Maybe you didn't have a dad or a stepdad or a mom or a stepmom to help teach you these things, these lessons in life. About, simply just don't give up, keep trying, whatever. But another observation I had was the fact that, when one kid be playing a certain way, let's say one kid is, a real example was, one of the kids was playing a tea party, and she fucking loves tea parties. The other kid does not. Doesn't really give a shit about tea, or tea parties, or teacups, or anything like that. And the one that cared about tea parties was telling me, look at my tea party I'm doing. And then the other one, seen me walking past and basically tried saying, hey, look at my tea party. And she tried getting together some cups and whatever. And I know she don't give a fuck about tea. So I explained to them, I don't care about tea. I don't care about a tea party. And let me tell you, kind of like seeing a little girl go from like, so excited to be like, oh my god, look at what I'm doing, look at my, and then for me to be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck about tea, basically, kind of shattered her, because she was like, in a sense, in her mind, she was probably thinking, well, why did you acknowledge, basically acknowledge her sister for telling me about her tea party, but I didn't acknowledge her. And I kind of told her, and I kind of basically didn't acknowledge her for that situation. And then when I was done doing what I was doing, I explained to her the reason I didn't acknowledge her is because she's not into tea parties. She doesn't care about tea parties. So I don't care to hear about the things that she doesn't care about. Like, if she doesn't care about it, why are you telling me about it? It was because she thought that I cared about tea parties because her sister was telling me about a tea party. And I was like, oh my god, it's so cool. I grabbed a cup of tea. I drank the cup of tea with her. And, yeah, but the other little girl thought that I cared about the tea party. And I explained to her, I don't give a fuck about the tea party. I care that your sister cared about the tea party. And it's that I will care about the things that you are into. And I want to listen to the things that you are into. So kind of what I'm realizing is that human beings from a young age have this issue. And if this issue doesn't get solved at a young age, you end up adapting this issue in adulthood. You end up being fake, I guess. And that's what I was kind of trying to explain to them, to be real. You know, because I'm real as fuck, right? So, like, I don't care how young these kids are. I swear a lot. I do me. I'm me. They can't get any... They're not going to get a fake version of me. They're going to get the real me. So, like, I was explaining to them, like, you need to talk about the things you're into. Speak about the things you like. Because, I don't know, I'm realizing a lot of us who are older tend to be fake around friends. Let's say maybe you don't give a fuck about Vampire Diaries, but maybe you have a friend that does. So every time you're around that friend, you talk about Vampire Diaries. Or for men, this would be football. Maybe you don't give a shit about football, but your friends are all fucking hype and pumped about Sunday night football. So you're like, yeah, sure, I love Sunday night. I love football. Football is awesome, you know what I mean? And they tell you what's your favorite team, and you tell them the only team you know. It's not like it's your favorite team, it's just the only team you know. And I'm using this as an example because this was me as a child. Like, my friends loved football. I didn't really watch football. I didn't give a fuck about football. The only team I knew about, the only football team I knew about, the only name I knew in football was the Patriots. The only quarterback or the only player I ever knew that was a football player by name was Tom Brady. So at the time, Tom Brady was the quarterback of the Patriots. And I was like, well, he's my favorite football player, and the Patriots are my favorite team. But really, I was just trying to fit in with the group of people that I was, hanging out with at the time. And I think this is a major flaw in our biology. A major flaw is trying to fit in, trying to be popular, trying to be cool. Anything you're trying to be, that means you're fucking fake. Because you don't have to try to be yourself. You just have to be yourself. So, like, something I'm just teaching my kids, and something I'm realizing that I didn't have this growing up as a kid. Nobody taught me this shit, really, and I guess I kind of learned from my mom, but, like, my dad wasn't in my life as much as I would have liked, so he didn't really teach me philosophical lessons about life or whatever, but I'm trying to do this with my kids now, so they are a little more prepared. Because the main problem with life is people give up. People get too old and they give up on their dreams because they say, I'm too old. Or if you didn't go to college or didn't go to school, you think you can't do that thing that you want to do because you didn't go to school. Or, I don't know, there's this weird thing in the world. And it kind of laps over into adulthood because people will buy a car and a house and have some kids and all this just because that's what everyone else is doing. Maybe that's not what you want to do. That's why we should always look inward. Look at yourself, ask yourself, talk to yourself on what you really want to do. If you have friends, analyze why you're friends with them, and do they have the same interests as you? Sometimes you're going to have friends that don't have the same interests as you, but, like, it's just to be careful who you hang out with because your friends will influence you and you will influence your friends. It's this cycle. It's so hard to explain, but just observing the children and watching them grow and watching them go through what they're going through, I'm realizing that a lot of people in their adult life still deal with this. Talking about things they don't even like just so people can like them. Taking pictures that you only want to take just so people can like them. Talking about things you only want to talk about just so people can watch your video. Like, we're losing perspective of what's really important, and what's really important is being yourself.